YouTube, hello, it's Clay. Hope everyone is doing well when you're listening to this. We are back finally after like a two week hiatus, I think, for Casey Chronology. Well, Clay's Chronology, I guess I should say. But yes, we're gonna dive back into the Casey calls. We're on episode 6. This, from what I read in the comments, it looks like it is part 3 of the calls that are in episode 4 and 5. I barely remember, so I don't expect you to remember, but Lorne was bitching and moaning about his catfish, and I believe episode 5 ends with him complaining about his siblings and Tony and how they screwed him over, and he made all this money, so that led him to be a victim. So I'm sure this will be an annoying call, but yeah, let's hop back in. And let's do it.
As far as real girlfriends,
Yep, good question.
was that all before the catfish?
True.
For real in-person girlfriend?
Like, when was your last real girlfriend? Because obviously, all those women were just playing a game, so they weren't really your girlfriend. So, like, when was your last girlfriend?
My last real girlfriend before I went to Nashville.
Man, that is fucking bleak. The date of this call is November 18th, 2021. So he is saying that his last girlfriend, which we know that really wasn't even his girlfriend, but he is admitting that his last girlfriend is at least 17 and a half years before that. Now, if you're someone who likes to be single and doesn't want a partner, that is perfectly fine. But we know Lorne desperately wants a partner. That's how he knows that he has made it in life when he finally has one. And he is admitting to this girl that he has not had a partner in almost 18 full fucking years. Oof.
Our last real in-person girlfriend was before I went to Nashville.
Yeah.
Oh, wow. What was that like?
Yeah.
Oh. In a while then, huh?
Yeah, that wasn't even a good relationship.
No.
It was a short relationship. It wasn't a good one. And
so how long before that was your girlfriend? Like, how long before Nashville?
She was probably 6 months before Nashville.
So then this is the girlfriend that he's talking about in the I'm sure he's talking about it on multiple occasions, but I was just recently listening to Wes and Tiffany do the trigger for my Valentine call, which is a great call. But so yeah, this is the one that he took out for food at the bar before the bar that was at the bar, but it was at the bar. He had a steak, of course, and he got her a pink teddy bear and whatever.
And then there was 3 years there where I have one night stands with my friends.
Yeah.
My female friends that were in my hang around group.
First of all, Lorne has never had a female friend. I mean, he's barely even had a friend. Definitely never had a female friend. But yeah, for 3 years, he was just constantly having one night stands. Sure, Lorne.
Which included the parties that we go to Tony's house and then we'd have at my house. And some karaoke bars that I'd go to. And I'd have some one night stands then. And then
yeah, I don't know anything. I don't like one night stands.
Yeah, I don't either anymore.
Yeah.
Back then, I had a different mindset. I was about a party because I was just hanging around the wrong people. But before, let me see, I came back to Maine from Washington State in 2002. I think it was 2002. Or maybe it was in 2001.
What?
I came back to Maine. Before that, when I was out in Washington State, it was when I came back to Maine when I started drinking more again.
Yeah.
When I was in Washington State, I was there for 3.5 years. Those 3.5 years, I probably had a six-pack the whole time. And I didn't go out because I had my nieces and nephews like 80% of the time. My sister-in-law had depression really bad, and so they spent a lot of time with me. And my brother, their father, my brother, was actually back here because him and his wife had gotten a divorce. So he came back here to Maine. So it was like I was out there when I was with them. For 2 years, I had them about 80% of the time, so my concentration was all on those three kids.
No, you did not.
Nothing else. So I didn't go out for that whole time. And the only six-pack of beer that I drank was one I bought at the store and brought back to the house. It took me like a month to drink it.
It took him a month to drink
how
a
did
six-pack.
your last relationship?
If we know anything about Lorne, is that he doesn't drink beer in excess, and especially not right when he gets it. It took him a month to drink a six-pack. Okay.
Shit, then your real ones.
It ended with her name was Brandy.
Oh, okay. One of the 7 brandies.
With her and her 2 sisters.
Are you?
Lorne!
I can't hear you.
Hello!
Very quiet.
How about now? Can you hear me now?
Yeah, I can hear you.
Okay, I had to move my headset. Her name was Brandy, and the way that ended was her and her 2 sisters came over to my house, and they packed up her clothes, and I asked her what was going on, and she said, "We're done. I'm leaving." And I was like, "Huh." I was like,
Why?
"All right."
Yeah.
They were on drugs.
Again, what part of the story is correct or is real or not, we'll never know. But yeah, they broke up with him because they were on drugs. I think that would be why they got together, if they actually did.
I just let her do it. I didn't fight her about it. I just let her pack her stuff up and go.
Yeah.
All three, I could tell even right then that when they were doing it, they were all doing drugs.
I'm sure.
Just by the way they acted.
Yeah.
What kind of drugs?
Well, I don't know.
They did heroin and cocaine and
Yeah.
anything they could get their hands on to.
Yeah.
Wow.
And
How long did you date her for?
Her, I think it was about a month that I dated her, which I'm surprised it lasted that long.
Yeah, that's not like really a relationship then.
No,
I mean, like, when was your last
Come
like
on.
real girlfriend?
My last real girlfriend.
Like actual relationship.
I've actually never really had one that I would consider an actual real relationship, a real long-term relationship.
Wow.
Because of the fact that
Yeah.
there was one that I thought I was in that I actually fell in love with her, and it took me a long time to get over her.
All right, guys. I'm gonna give everyone a little bit of a warning. Prepare yourself. Get your snacks and drinks now, because we're about to lock in to listening to some fucking Lorne and Paula lore.
And she's actually the real reason why I never had a long-term relationship.
Yeah.
So you dated her, and what happened?
I didn't even date her. Well, I did in a way.
No.
Well, we didn't in a way. She had just
No.
No. She just her engagement to another guy had just ended.
Yeah.
And she was, when I met her, she was still living with him because that was the first time I was out in Washington State. And which that was for 3.5 years. First time I was out there too. But she was in Alaska. She lived in Alaska, and she met her fiance up there, and he was in the Army. And he got transferred down to Washington State, and she moved down here with him. And then they wound up breaking up. And she got a job at the karaoke bar that I used to go to as a waitress, and that's where I met her.
Oh,
And
okay.
so she explained everything to me about her being engaged to him and them just breaking up. And so I took things really slow with her, so that way it would give her time to get over him.
Yeah.
And even though she would make moves on me, and I wouldn't respond like she wanted me to.
My God,
Why?
dude.
Because I knew that she still had to be in love with him, and I didn't want it to be her rebound thing. I wanted it to be something real and good with her.
I need to be real.
Well,
Okay.
I waited.
But seriously, what a goddamn fucking everything we know about Lorne. This stuff could not be further from the truth of what we know about him and how he acts and how desperate he is. This woman was making, quote, multiple moves on him, and each time he was just like, you know what? I think I'm good, actually. You know, you're still healing, we're still healing, so, yeah, no, I'm good. I'll give you time.
Too long.
How long did you wait?
I waited 6 months. But her and I would do everything together.
No, you would
We'd
not.
do everything together. And we'd go hiking. We'd go to the karaoke bar together. We'd go to my brother's house and have cookouts there. And we did everything together.
And she was just your friend?
Yeah, she was just my friend, even though we both knew that we were going to be working towards something more.
Oh my God.
But apparently, I waited too long. Because
yeah, what does that mean? That doesn't even make sense.
no, I waited too long before to make a move on her. Because some other guy from the karaoke bar asked her out, and she went out with him.
Oh.
And that wound up so messed up. It hurt me pretty bad. I was in love with her, and I knew I was in love with her.
But she didn't love you?
Well, she loved me, but I didn't make a move on her, and she wanted more than what I was giving her at the time.
But Lorne was in love with her at this time, but didn't want to give her that more because he was being respectful.
Well, then why didn't you? If you loved her and she loved you?
Because I didn't know that she loved me at the time. And I didn't even know that I loved her at the time as much as I did. It wasn't until this guy asked her out, and she went on a date with him, she started spending more time with him and less time with me. And that's when I realized that I was in love with her. But then this guy asked him they were only together for like a month before he asked her to marry him. And she said yes. And it floored me. And I was like, you gotta be kidding me. I said, my God.
Oh my God.
And, well, it wasn't real for her.
It wasn't real.
What was it?
It wasn't him, being engaged to him. She only used it. She only did that so she would have a place to live. Because he had a trailer in Washington State.
Wow.
And
he sounds like an asshole.
Yeah.
How do you know that is why they live together?
He doesn't, actually.
Well, because she came over and slept with me one night.
No.
She had him drop her off at my apartment.
No.
And then
No.
And I didn't make any moves on her.
Oh my God.
She went and lay down in my bed. She stayed there. And we stayed in the living room and talked for a little bit. And then she went and lay down, on my bed.
Yep.
And I went and laid on my bed
Yep.
next to her. I didn't make a move on her. She made the move on me.
Yep.
But she was engaged.
She was supposedly she had just broke off the engagement with him.
Yeah.
And he dropped her off. at your house?
Yeah.
That makes
And then
no
when we were done,
sense.
then about a half hour to an hour after we were done having sex, she called him up to come get her.
Mm-hmm.
And she went back to him. And
I mean, so what, an hour or two after that, that's when she called. But in other stories, is she stood up, immediately pulled on her pants and called. I think there's one version of the story where, they talked all night and then she called in the morning. Just such goddamn bullshit.
the next day they were engaged again. And then it was like a month after that when she broke off the engagement.
Yeah.
And she stayed at my house for, well, actually it was like 2 months after that. She stayed in my apartment for 2 days because she had a plane ticket. She was going to go back to Alaska.
Mhm.
So that's what she did. And it was a year later she came back, and I was still in love with her, and I had told my friend about it, that I was working for him doing carpentry. I told him about her.
You're
And,
fading out again.
Hello?
yeah, it's the area. I've got my phone in the best spot it can be in right now.
Who cares?
So it's just the area. It's the air. But I told my friend about her, and he asked me if I wanted to ask her to marry me. I said, yeah, I kind of do it, but I just don't know if it's really right now or not. And, well,
Hold on, sorry. I got distracted. I gotta hear what he just said again. I'm gonna go back like 30 seconds.
I've got my phone in the best spot it can be in right now.
Okay.
So it's just the area. It's the air. But I told my friend about her, and he asked me if I wanted to ask her to marry me. I said, yeah, I kind of do it, but I just don't know if it's really right.
Okay. Again, Lauren doesn't have friends, and we know that this story's bullshit because, all of us, we have friends. And if there was a girl that you had never officially dated, but you liked, but you were talking about her, no one's first question to you would be like, "So you gonna ask her to marry you?" I mean, like, what are we even doing here? Is this just Lauren trying to be magnanimous again? He'd be like, no, see, I never wanted to take advantage of her situation. Never invited her, never proposed to her. Even though my friend was like, hey, you should you're gonna propose to her, right? You read?
Now and all. And well, he had told my brother, which him and my brother were friends too. And then my brother told his wife, and my wife and Paula was her name. My brother's wife and Paula were friends. And so my brother's wife told Paula. And Paula came back and told me, she said, don't ask me to marry you because you're actually one that I really would marry. And I'm like, that's when it really,
the dumbest story
really
of all
hit me
fucking
that,
time.
the whole other time with this other guy, James, was just fake.
Okay, but that makes no sense, at all.
No, it doesn't.
Why wouldn't you then propose to her if she wanted to marry you and you wanted to marry her?
Because just by her saying, don't ask me to marry you, that stops me. Because there's something, it just tells me that there's something making her tell me that don't ask me to marry you.
What the fuck
Why would
are
she
you
say
talking
that?
about?
I don't know.
So,
and again, even if that was kind of true, you could just ask Paula to date. Be like, you know what? Yeah, we don't actually have to get married, but we could, just date for a little bit and see how things are. No, that makes too much sense.
she wanted to marry you, and you wanted to marry her.
Yeah.
But she said, don't ask me.
Yeah, that's what stopped me from asking her.
That doesn't make any sense at all.
Also, Lorne's favorite thing in the world is asking women to marriage. Like, he's yelling and screaming about Cas3y and, you know, calling Jamie all these names and accusing her. But still, what does he ask near the end of the call? Will you marry me? And when Jamie says no, it's, well, you better start saying yes pretty soon. But you're telling me that this woman said, please, is begging, like, oh my God, please, I will marry you. I want to marry you. You are the one I want to marry. And Lorne was like, nah, I'm actually not going to do my favorite thing in the entire world, which is to propose.
It doesn't make any sense to me.
Yeah.
It never did.
If she wanted to marry you, and she wanted to say yes, why would she tell you not to ask?
Yeah.
Maybe because the story's not real.
Was she, like, letting you down gently?
Yes.
Maybe.
Like, maybe she didn't like you, and she was just, like, saying
Well,
that not
that
hurt
would
your
be
feelings.
crazy.
Maybe.
Oh. Well, look at you,
I
Lorne.
don't.
Probably what it
that I
was.
won't cross
That
off.
doesn't make any sense at all.
It doesn't make any sense to me either. I stopped trying to make sense out of it a long time ago. It doesn't make any sense.
Yeah, I'm gonna guess she probably didn't like you and didn't want to marry you.
Don't say that.
Otherwise, she would have, if she knew that you liked her or loved her. You know?
That's
So maybe it was like just letting you down gently. You know what I mean?
No.
Yeah,
Like,
it
oh, I
might
don't want to hurt his
make me,
feelings, so I'm gonna say,
Yeah,
I want to marry you, but please don't ask.
yeah.
Yeah.
It doesn't make any sense to me.
Yeah, keep saying it, Lorne.
No,
That could have
it
been her way
doesn't.
of letting me down. You might be right. That could have been her way of letting me down easy.
Mhm. That's the only thing
don't
that
know.
would make sense, kind of.
I know. I'm glad that I didn't. I'm glad I didn't ask her to marry me. I'm glad that I didn't marry her. I'm glad that didn't happen.
Yeah, so he's glad he didn't marry her, which fine. But then he stayed in love with her for the next 30 years and will bring her up constantly as like the one who got away and all this stuff. But he's glad he didn't spend the rest of his life with her. I don't really understand.
Why?
Because
So you're glad that you never dated anyone?
Yeah, he is.
well, no, I'm not glad that I never dated anyone. I'm not glad that I never had any long-term relationship with actually.
Yeah, gotta be sad.
With actually, living together, type of thing. But
Wow. So you've never been in love?
yeah, I was in love with Paula.
Oh my
Well, I
god.
mean, in love with someone who loved you too. You know what I mean?
Oh, she loved me.
Like you never,
Yeah, well,
like, been in a relationship or like took a woman out to dinner or, you know, stuff like that.
Oh,
I'm sorry.
that
no,
groan.
no, I haven't.
Ooh.
It's my fault. I know it's my fault because after Paula, I never really gave anybody the chance.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it's not that he's a goblin who, has probably had pedophile tendencies his entire life and that he never had a job or money and is very ugly. And doesn't know how to treat people, isn't normal, doesn't know how to talk to people. Yeah, it's just he never really put himself out there, guys. That's why he never had a girlfriend. None of those other reasons. If he would just hadn't been so hurt and hit on women more, he would have definitely found love, guys.
Wow.
Because of
It must really suck. It's like you haven't even lived yet.
Oof. Oh, I've lived.
You know what I mean? Like,
I've definitely lived.
Yep.
yeah, but not
Definitely
like,
that I've lived. It's just not something that I ever pictured my future would have been.
Yeah.
Right.
Like, I mean, when I was in high school, I pictured my future to be so much different.
I bet.
Yeah, it's,
That's just kind
Pretty
of a
sad.
bummer. You never had like a Valentine's Day, no movie dates, dinners with like a woman who loved you, like you loved her.
yeah,
You know?
yeah.
Yeah, you know.
Wow, that's crazy.
I've always wanted that too.
Yeah, I'm sure you have, Lauren.
Well, yeah, everyone does.
Well, no, you can't say that you always have because you just said that you didn't want that. That's why you couldn't put yourself out there. Which one is it? Did you enjoy being a male slut and having your one night stands because you didn't want a relationship and you were so hurt by Paula and that's why you couldn't put yourself out there? Or as you just said, did you always want that? Because it can't be both.
It really sucks because Valentine's Day comes around and I don't have that special someone there that I can do things for. And,
This would probably be better said on the, again, the trigger for my Valentine call, but this is something that's always bothered me, and he kind of just said it, but he's like, to have someone on that day I can do something special with. I don't understand why he doesn't understand. Well, we know why. It's because he's never had a real girlfriend, but he, doesn't understand or get that you can just be nice to your partner and buy them flowers and take them out for dinner on any day of the week. It can be, September 4th, and you can just be like, you know what, my partner, I'm going to buy her these roses, just because I love her and I want to be nice to her. Like, to him, it's like, no, you can only do that stuff on Valentine's Day. So it really sucks that he doesn't have anyone on Valentine's Day so you can do something special for her. But, you can just do something special for someone any day of the week, Lorne.
stuff that I love doing.
Yeah, I'm sure.
Yeah.
Also, how do you know you love doing it when you've never done it? You just admitted you've never had a long-term relationship and never had anyone on Valentine's. So how do you know you love to do that?
Never done any of that.
Yeah.
Yeah. Wow.
Want to be my first?
That's kind of shocking to me.
Oh my God. Let's rewind that one.
Wow.
Want to be my first?
That's kind of shocking to me.
Want to be my first?
Yeah, keep saying it, Lauren.
Oh.
I'm gonna rewind and play that again because, so this woman is making fun of you on how you've never really dated anyone or had a Valentine. So your response is, "Want to be my first," and listen to this reaction again.
Wow.
Want to be my first?
That's kind of shocking to me.
Want to be my first?
Ugh. She laughed. All she did was laugh, and then didn't say anything after that.
Oh. Life's taking some funny turns.
Yeah, I just could never imagine. Just I don't know, being in my 50s or whatever, and never experiencing any of that. Kind of a bummer.
It is a bummer.
Yeah. I'm very sad for you.
Thank you, I think.
No. No, you do not say thank you to that.
Even though I've never experienced those things that I've always really wanted to experience with a relationship, I've never felt alone.
How fucking sad. But also, we know that's untrue because this man needs to be on the phone 24/7 and have Three's Company or Jurassic Park DVD menu looping, has 3 TV on, because God forbid there's one moment of fucking silence in his life where he might feel that. I mean, good God.
Well, yeah, I guess you had those catfish, right?
True.
No, I mean because of family.
No. No. Your family fucking hates you.
I
Shut
know,
the
but
fuck
you're not
up.
like dating your family.
He might
Unless
be.
you
No, I'm not
are. I
dating
don't
my
know what
family.
people in Maine do.
No, too funny. No, I don't date my family. That's
Only
that's
because they
huge
wouldn't date
no-no.
you.
Yeah, but you've never like made love to a woman.
No. We had a lot of one-night
Sure,
stands.
I can't say that I have.
A lot of one-night stands,
Wow.
Casey.
It's well, actually I can't say that because that one time with Paula, I was in love with her.
Right, but like
No.
two
No.
people in love with
No.
each other, like, you know, you've kind of been like
Yeah.
romantically alone your entire life.
Yeah. Yep.
Yep.
Jeez, you're gonna make me sad.
I know, you're making me sad. I can never imagine going through that.
I'm sorry. Sorry, I
Well,
don't
don't be
want to
sorry
make
to
you sad.
me. I've been in love.
Oh, yeah? Oh, yeah? Who was he? Who the fuck was he, Casey?
Yep. I definitely want a different future. I want a future with somebody that gives a shit. That's all I know.
Yeah, you know what? Lorne, he's honest, so he wants someone just like him.
And that actually wants to enjoy life.
Yeah. Woof. So that was the end of Casey episode 6. Man. Like, that is some bleak shit. I mean, I don't feel bad for him because everything in his life is a product of his actions and who he is as a person and his choices. And honestly, it brings some pleasure that he obviously craves that shit so much and hasn't gotten it and will never get it again because of how he acts and who he is as a person. But man, when it's just laid out, man, that shit is fucking bleak. He's just, yeah, I've always, wanted it, just never had it. Because it's either, like, the Paula stuff is true, right? And that is fucking so pathetic and so sad. Or he's lying about the Paula stuff, and it's just as sad that he's lying about it, and he's using that as a crutch and an excuse as to why he, hasn't been with anyone since. So, I don't know. I know that's nothing new. We're not breaking any new ground. Just like I haven't listened. Obviously, honestly, the reason I'm doing this quote unquote series, if where we ever get through it, is because I haven't listened to a lot of these calls in a long time. Because I listen to like the bangers, like the ones that I know that are funny and I'm gonna get a laugh out of. I don't usually listen to these. Just because while they're good and insightful, they're not gonna like make me laugh or whatever. So some of these I haven't listened to in a very long time. It's just fucking rough to listen to. He just yeah, I don't know, just sad. Anyway, so yeah, we'll end this episode on a super high note. Hopefully get a couple of these out over the next couple of weeks. I'm gonna be out of town the week of the 14th, so let me know nothing there. So I'm trying to get some videos and some streams done before then. I think we'll call the end of episode 6 right there. And yeah, I'll see you guys next time. Bye.